My name is Dominic Choi. I live in Macau since I was 3 years old, and my architecture to me is about life and experience. I think for me, architecture is, as I said, life and experiences. So I'm interested in the changes of architecture. It depends on the location, the aspect, the history. There are certain variation changes. So not in a particular type, but I like all kind of variations, I would say. It wasn't really my first choice because I think since my family are all related to architecture, I kind of try not to do architecture. But I love art, I love psychology. So initially I wanted to do psychology or art. But eventually after the A-levels and studies, and I realized that it might be better my choice to follow the footstep. I studied in England. In two places, one in Liverpool, one in London. I stayed in England to get my license for 4 years. I think after working there and studying there and coming back to Macau, I found Macau has a lot of opportunities, a lot of potential which I can express myself in many different ways because the city is small, but there are very interesting architecture within and culturally. Well, when I first came back to Macau, I actually worked together with my sister, Joy, for 11 years as a partner and design director. So at that time I roughly calculate around 40-something buildings completed. Of course, there are another like interior project and some other works. I think in my so-called like 20 years experience around in Macau, I've done a lot of, well, I wouldn't, I try to think about what I haven't done. You know, I've done interior project, I've done design management, project management, I've done a school, government building, LRT, even Macau Tower, like feasibility study for bungee jump and school, restaurant, bar, and any kind. So that is my interest. You know, I always try to discover something I've never done before, and I try to do it, even for free.
Really?
Yeah, I did some project for free too. Like for example, doing sculptural project for University of Macau was just for like helping to do some like monument. You know, didn't charge any money. It was fun. You know, sometimes it's more important like to participate, able to participate.
According to the ancient Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step.
One other thing I have done, I can just add on a little bit here, is we also had a group called Architecture Sans Frontiers. Yeah. We did some charity projects in the Philippines. We built some schools there. The project is called Project Yolanda. So was the Yolanda storm kill around 60,000 people, 60,000 people in Philippines at that time. So that time we got approached by Philippines, like a priest actually want us to help to rebuild that church. But that time we were saying like, we can't just build particular function building. We wanted to help more variety of projects. So they started to give us 10 schools to do. And they said we can't afford 10 schools, but we'll choose the 5 schools we can help. Then we went to visit, we get the funding done in Macau all by ourselves. And all our trip is paid by ourselves. We don't deduct any money from the donations. So we get all this donation locally in Macau. Then we find contractor there and build it, following up the whole project process. One of the good thing about this project is not what we have done, but it's what has been carried out afterward. Because we work with a school here, Macau Anglican College, Mac School, and then after we finish the project, they are still doing the playground project until now. They have been donating playground for different schools in Philippines now, without our help. We initiated, but they continue. This is more important because it's sustainable. That's what we call it. Because we cannot always help for a long time. You need to encourage other people to help. I think the urban threat is Macau is such a small place. I also did the urban design for master. That time when I came back to Macau, I also found the complexity of Macau. It's really hard to have one single solution because of the size of it is too small. I think that also give opportunity to think about what kind of architecture should located here. Should have its really like strong characteristic rather than following other places. I think the threat is a very difficult situation for implementations, But I think if you do it right, you actually get a very interesting effect out of it. We call it organic city. This is a part of the plan too. Sometimes in some city, if you talk about planning, they were intentionally doing that. They do it in a satellite way. They don't plan the whole space, but they plan for, we call it the node point, and then you let the city to develop by itself. So in a way, Macau is a bit like that, by plan or by non-plan. But in a way, the result it come out is quite interesting. You can see very characteristic district in Macau, which may not happen in many other places when you like plan too much. One part is very important is because Macau's size of it. Macau is very small, and it has been the amount of people circulating in Macau is vast, but the size is very small in Macau. So you kind of have this very interesting, we call it a collective of people in such a small melting pot. And also I think the Portuguese government, the way the implementation of the culture of Portugal are not like not forcing into Macau. It comes very naturally. It comes very naturally than different governments' way of dealing with that. Because I remember when I first came back to Macau, I've been to one of these seminar of how Portuguese kind of occupy Macau and what the policy is. Actually, it's quite interesting. It's more about mixing. How you mix with the people, you mix with the culture, acceptance of the culture, and the respect of different culture. I think that's very important. Why Macau is so distinct, and I think the European influences is quite strong here, and also the Macau people are very acceptance on that as well. I think that's what I find the difference. Yeah, I'm very proud. I told people I'm from Macau, and of course they said, what's it? Is it in Hong Kong? I said no. Macau, yeah, I'm very proud. I say, but not many people actually knew it previously. When I was in England, no one actually knew where Macau was. Someone thought I came from Europe or somewhere, when I said Macau. And they mistakenly, they supposed to pick me up, but they were not expecting me I was a Chinese. So it's very funny. The heritage in Macau is not just about physical. It's about the culture. It's a software rather than just hardware. I think it's very important to have that mindset when we are talking about heritage conservation. Is the whole thing about how to manage the heritage we have and how to exploit, extend it, rather than changing everything to be museum, changing everything to be library. But I think it's more important how you activate it and make people to participate into it in all kind of sectors. The heritage is not just on the building, sometimes on the street itself. Sometimes some old street, alleyway, that figure, the proportion is already a heritage itself. You don't need to maintain a building to do it. You just need to develop the area. That's why I find the planning is very important, not just look at the new part to give a new face to Macau, but it's also very important to look at the inside of the Macau, how to redevelop it and to make it more viable. The world is developing. You cannot keep the same elements forever, but you need to think about how to reuse them. It's a project called Fountain Site in the Lilau area. So it was a difficulty of a heritage site, sorry, not heritage, a heritage area. So the restriction of retaining the old villa's facade. So what we did in this building was to maintain the villas in the front, but we elaborate a little bit there is to rebuild those 4 villas. So the usage-wise, they are still 4 villas, but so they have a separate entrance from the main road here. But the other part, because it's more for the residential independent unit, so they have a separate entrance. And also to the requirement by the client, they want to have like car parks, underground car parks. So that actually making us a big challenge because the site is not very big. So the car park doesn't want to have a car lift, so it has to be a ramp. So that creating a lot of structural difficulties, not issue, but more like difficulty to plan the structure. And the units, I think I said before, was very complicated divisions. But we also wanted to show a bit of privacy to the surrounding, because surrounding is very close range to each other. So we recommend some screen, like old building heritage screen, but which matching the existing screen of the villa. So, and the stepping is also important. We work quite closely with cultural department to try to gain the kind of acceptance on how can we achieve this building by not disturbing the heritage surrounding. So, of course, the client also sacrifice a lot of spaces in order to achieve that. So we create like a stepping on 4 sides of the site. So at any angle of the street, you kind of look at the volume a lot smaller, not like a gigantic building. So it's I would say it reduces a lot from the volumetric kind of planning.
In Macau, you don't have old buildings being transformed into new apartments.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's not many like this. Well, it's also it's not easy to do that because you literally will lose a lot of spaces, right? If you look at the commercial side, but this client they like to buy off heritage building. They like to interest in the heritage side, like in Old Taipei, in this kind of district. Of course, it creates difficulty too. But I think if you build a building like that, I would say this is for me why it's challenging is like it's a conflict between heritage and commercial. How you make the most value, but at the same time you have to protect the heritage. I think that is what Macau should have a lot of this opportunity. How as again, maybe this building from Europe doesn't look heritage to any of the European, but because the context is situated that location, you have the Mandarin House here, Lilau there, the path of heritage that create the heritage importances of that.
So this is the 2 rooms apartment, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, and also it's the one with biggest terrace. The reason why we have the biggest terrace is because of the heritage conservation issue of the facade of the existing 4 villas. So the government wanted to be recessed from the street. So the pedestrian from the street, they are not able to see the top of the building. So that is why the big terrace appear. There's a lot of space. You can see the sky is very precious. We try to maximum the light coming into the space. So you can see we try to create more windows for cross ventilations as much as we can. This area we have the terrace, but there we have a bit of like a window, mainly purpose for cross ventilation. Yeah.
Yes.
Review and so on. I think the whole design process took nearly, I would say, 9 months to nearly a year. The construction also took around a year more because of the basement, because this is on a hill. So the excavation is a big cost. Actually the developer helped a lot on the investing, a big investment on excavating, 2-story of a car park.
The developer, is he from Macau?
It's from Macau, yeah. It's a kind of foreign funding company and working on a lot of projects in Macau, but based from Hong Kong and England. So they develop a lot of heritage conversion buildings, like in the Taipei Old Town and the Old Town of Macau as well. Yeah. Yeah, this is a garden, the terrazzo. We try to mimic again the same period of time, 1920s. And also you can see the door and all this proportion was originally there. Yes. But of course we try to choose a kind of timber, or the finishing are more real. So they're actually real timber. So it will age with time. Right. So it does look a bit old intentionally. Right. Please come in, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is like a sample room. For sale purpose. So in the inside part, you can see we have tried to create a more double high space, and in order to give like a more welcome entrance. Right. And then we have the very distinct differences between the living room and the dining area. Right. And dining is connected directly to the kitchen. So the kitchen itself is like a semi-open kitchen. We have a big sliding door, which can be entirely open. So, and it kind of give
a nice kitchen.
Connectivity.
Bigger than most kitchens in Macau.
Yeah, well, it's a villa. Yeah. So that's the idea about villa living. So we want to create in the center of Macau City Old Town, have another style of living which used to exist before. It was a orphanage before. It's located in Nam1, Saiwan area. The building was originally designed by Manuel Vincent, very famous architect, Portuguese architect. At the time we were approached by the social welfare department to approach the project. Initially, the plan was maybe considering to rebuild it, but when we visited the site, we found the building was so amazing. It was like really heritage on its own, but it wasn't that old, you know. So we found what can we do to maintain it, and because it was an orphanage, it was like wasn't used for nursery. So we didn't want to like demolish too many elements. So we try our best to maintain as much as possible and to reflect the characteristic of the original building, but at the same time it will functionally work for nursery because the classroom sizes are restricted. There are certain requirements for toilet proportion and so on, right? So it was quite a challenging project. I think we actually done quite okay at the end to able to maintain the significance of that. But of course, look more cute now because it's for babies and kids. Yeah. Well, I think for the nursery building, I think one of the challenges of keeping the existing is to how to make use of the open spaces, because we wanted to introduce a new way of, not say new way, it's just maybe a little bit new in Macau, but it's not new anymore. It's like looking at the nursery in a different perspective, you know. A lot of nursery people use activities, you know, like bicycle and all this. In here, we intended to make the landscape becoming a part of teaching. So you don't need any tools, because initially when I talked to the principal when they first came in, they asked, oh, where is the storage for the bike? I said, oh, actually it's better you don't buy the bike. Because it's a place you can't really cycle because it's going up and down and uneven. But what was special of that is because the kids are very small. They were like from 2 years old to 3, right? Or some of them are 1 year old. So they can't even cycle. Most of the time you buy cycle, you just put it away. And I think more important is they need to learn the motor skill. They're able to climb, they're able to crawl, they're able to start to learn how to walk, and those are the more fundamental importances. So all the material in there we try to use is soft material. Even the playground we use the EPDM, which I think you see more common now everywhere. But at that time when we used it was quite early stage being used in Macau. So all the water can absorb. We call it a passive drainage system. So it doesn't need to have a proper drain. So all the water absorbs into the ground. So you very quickly dry the whole ground. So after it rains, it can dry in like half an hour. Then the kids can start playing already. And also we try to use a level to have a higher level of the teachers' area, so they're able to overlook all the kids when they're running around. They're not like hiding behind something for safety reason. So there's something we try to implement in such a confined spaces, and to be more open in the area. But of course, this also helped with the operator. They actually done a great job inside as well, how to implement it. We try to create more skylight because it's a building used to be for sleeping quarter, so they don't want light, and it's a low ceiling. So for the higher floor, we try to open new skylights or make use of existing level differences to. So most of the windows are existing kind of element. We're just creating new elements underneath that. So you can see the history of it. We do try to maintain some of this. Even the cabinet, we find it very interesting to be kept, and we keep it there as a.
So it was a challenge also,
history,
right?
Yeah. So you can see the skylight here make a lot different with the light effect.
It's better light to the room.
You can see most of the light come from there, not from the side. So we also create some motorized blind, so kids, they can close it when kids sleeping. So you can see the whole lighting effect is quite different. So when you put the matches there, the kids can more relax on not looking up the sky.
And the lamps are your design as well?
Yeah, well, we chose from product, but we want to, again, you can see the circle in different places, in the tile of the toilet, in the lighting,
so
on the floor.
To match.
Yeah, so it's like a coordinate of different elements. And actually imagine when we thought of the fan, when it moves, it's a circle too.
Right.
So it's a lot of circle in different way, repeating.
Ladies and gentlemen, the sound you just heard was the drum falling off the stage.
If I have a chance again,
Yes.
well, I think I would have done more things, but I don't think I would change anything. I think maybe I would even think about how to keep more. I mean, and I think every project we learn a lot from different projects. I think I have learned a lot from doing such a interesting, like a modern building, but maintain it and reuse it. I think the next time I do it, I will do it better. I can just say that, yeah. But I don't know how yet. Well, yes, I have, but I think I would like to do a project not in Macau, which we kind of run a project in other places, but like actually doing that. We actually run a project in Malaysia for a hotel, but I think I would rather, able to do a project for like a museum, like a public spaces, in elsewhere in the world. The reason why not in Macau is because so much restriction here, and the land is so small. Sometimes when, as an architect, you do want to have the freedom to explore the possibility. Sometimes we always say Macau has a lot of limitation, also a lot of possibility, but physically, you cannot compete. We need most communications. We need to talk to each other more. We need to share ideas more. We need to be more open on acceptance of the idea from the rest of the world, and also sharing idea between ourselves. As a professional, as architect, or as a scholar. I think that's very, very important. And then we can move on to another potential space, because one person is very limited skill. But when you collaborate with different variety of people and with different background professionally, it really have a lot of new, I would call that, inspiration.